Well, you're
Sure.
right. I would just pick up on that and say that, I mean, the governor, who's the leader of the Republican Party, as well as the Republican-controlled legislature, his popularity. I can't remember a governor since I've been around watching, going back 60 years, who's dropped as much as Bobby Jindal has. And I was talking to some Republican legislators last night over dinner, and happened to run into them. And I said, tell me the most meaningful thing that came out of this whole session. You guys have been around for a while. You're the ones that passed the laws. And one looked at me and says, Jim, I guess the most meaningful thing we did up here was to allow you to put the word Cajun on your license tag or on your driver's license. It was a complete waste, and they all want to shut it down. So I think Jeff is right that this has kind of been a gift to the Republicans, because now they can kind of change the momentum and beat up on the Democrats. It's been a rough session for the Republicans.
The session, actually, as I think about it, the session is not over, right? It's over the 6th. And I'm thinking maybe it's not too late to put I'm a racist on a tag, a license tag. What do you think?
Pass that and put that on the license. I'm against Obamacare, and I'm a racist, so I guess I'm a racist. Huh?
Yeah. Now, Jeff, obviously this is a big negative for the Louisiana Democratic Party. Senator Mary Landrieu, she already has a very, very difficult time for her reelection for her 4th term. Damage control, how does she deal with this?
Well, I don't think she embraces what Karen Carter Peterson said.
Does she distance herself?
It'd be interesting to see how she handles it, but I don't think she's going to echo what Karen Carter Peterson said by any means. That would not be smart for Mary Landrieu. She's trying to pick up the votes.
She hasn't done too many smart things in terms of being reelected now.
But she's won 3 times, Steve, so she's no dummy. But she's
no,
going
of course not.
She's going to need a lot of Republican votes. She always seems to get moderate Republican votes. She's going to need the votes of people that opposed Obamacare, because, look, in the state of Louisiana, Obamacare is unpopular. She voted for it, so she can't condemn those who are against Obamacare by any means. So she's going to handle this much differently than Karen Carter Peterson. She's already brought on some big wigs, Boise Bollinger, Joe Cannizzaro. She's going to continue to try to peel away some Republicans from Cassidy, who, by the way, I've interviewed a number of times on my program. He's walking very gingerly here in this whole race. There has been some whispers about desire to get some other Republicans in the race as well. So we'll see how that whole thing plays out. But yeah, I don't think Landrieu's going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree, Stephen. I might say this. I think that she's walking away from any controversy issue involving the Democrats. She wants to play more to the moderates, to the independents, and even to some Republicans, perhaps. Look at what she's done recently. Her pick for the U.S. attorney in New Orleans. She didn't pick a Democrat. Look at the last pick she took to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, the most prestigious court you could possibly ascend to outside of the Supreme Court. She picks a David Vitter supporter who's not a Democrat. So she's doing a number of things that, quite frankly, ruffle some Democrats. But her feeling is, look, they got no place else to go, so let me kind of shift to the middle a little bit more. They're stuck with me, and let me try to pick up some independent votes. So I agree with Jeff. She won't touch this with a 10-foot pole or actually come back and disagree strongly with Karen Carter. She feels like it's a win-win situation.
Well, the Republicans have asked her whether or not she agrees or disagrees with Karen Carter's statement. So you think she should take the bait?
I don't think she will. I think she's going to try to stay as far away from it as she can, but if they press her, she's going to say that she personally does not feel that anybody who opposes Obamacare is a racist. She's probably say, well, I didn't hear the whole interview, but I'll just tell you how I feel. She'll dance with that.
Well, we'll send it to her, okay?
Hey, I would have danced with it, too. If I were back in my day, I would have danced with it, too, when I was in public office. So I can understand that, but I think she's going to not in any way agree, because she's run away from the Democrats already on a number of key issues, and I think we'll see this again.
Jeff.
No, I agree with Jim. I think he's right on target. That's exactly what's going to happen, and we'll see how much she is pressed on it. But she's slick. I mean, she is not going to get herself into too much hot water over this at all, because she realizes what she needs to do to win re-election. And I think if I were a betting man right now, I'd have to say she's a slight favorite to win another term.
Now, of course, if the Republicans throw somebody else into the mix, and you mentioned it a few seconds ago, Jeff, that the Republicans could very well go ahead and have somebody to compete against Bill Cassidy. Any names that you have heard?
Well, there's already a retired Air Force Colonel, Rob Maness, who has officially jumped in. There's some talk about some state senators that could be maybe recruited. I do know Maness is definitely running, so you have two that are definitely.
But he's unknown. I mean, he's totally unknown and needs a lot of money to get name and face recognition.
I realize that, but it's not good news for Cassidy to have any other Republican running.
Okay. Anybody else who is known?
I'm thinking a State Senator Chabert is being talked about. There are a few others that I've heard whispers about. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what in the end is going to be decided.
The problem is it comes down, though, to dollars. We got to remember that Rob Portman, the chairman of the Senatorial Campaign Committee, Republican Campaign Committee, has said that they profile Mary Landrieu as the most vulnerable senator of any Democratic senator running in 2014, number one. And number two, that means they're going to put a lot of money in here. They're not going to put it in on an unknown. They're going to pick one candidate. David Vitter's hand is all over this matter, too. There was some talk of Congressman Fleming, of Congressman Bustani running, and Vitter came in and made it very clear through negotiation that they ought to get together on one person, and he engineered Cassidy as the heir apparent. And so right now that's where the money's going. The only other candidate that can make a huge difference, in my opinion, is, and I got some laughs about this, but I wrote a column last week on my website at JimBrownUSA.com, and I said, what's Bobby Jindal going to do? His national campaign has crashed and burned in flames. He's not really given serious consideration now on the national level. He's term limited, and so does he just go off in the private sector? He's never been in the private sector of any consequence. Does he have to go out and work for a living like we do? And I don't think he wants to do that. I think he enjoys public life, and so he's the one guy who could raise a lot of money very quickly with the name recognition and give Mary Landrieu a real run for her money outside of Cassidy. Now, Vitter will have a say-so in there because it looks more and more like we may be possibly talking about Governor Vitter here, at least gubernatorial candidate Vitter. So there's a lot of chess playing in this match and a lot of behind the scenes going on, and we'll have certainly a lot to talk about in this race for a long time to come.
That's for sure. Yeah, I think Jim's right. I mean, the possibility of David Vitter running for governor is certainly there. I think Bobby Jindal's got to figure out what to do. He doesn't want to work in the private sector, and he's right. The presidential campaign has gone nowhere. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him run for Senate. I would think, what about this, Jim? What about if Vitter gets elected governor? Wouldn't the governor then have the ability to appoint someone, U.S. senator, in the interim?
Which lays out the possibility again with Jindal. Jindal could turn his whole force loose with Vitter, say we're going to get you elected 100%, and part of the deal is that when Vitter gets elected governor, he appoints Bobby Jindal as the U.S. senator in 2015. He doesn't even have to. So there's a couple of bites at the apple.
I don't think he can appoint he can appoint the interim. And the interim would be, I think, for a couple of months.
Oh, no, it would be for 2015. Well, it would be for about 9 months is what it would be.
9 months, yeah.
But that gives you're an incumbent then. All of a sudden, you're an incumbent going into the election. That's a nice big push-up.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, Jeff?
No, exactly, and that gives him the advantage going into the 2016 election for U.S. Senate. So I think that might be the scenario that might work out here in the end, where Jindal gets behind Vitter. If Vitter gets elected governor, he appoints Jindal to the Senate seat. Jindal then has a leg up for re-election in 2016, and then they both stay in office and switch positions, basically. That to me would be a nightmare scenario, but that is a scenario that could happen.
A nightmare scenario. Why is that, Jeff?
On that note, I've got to go. But thank you, gentlemen. It's good visiting.
You're not going to listen. On that note, I think we're all going to go. Okay, Jeff Crayer, Jim Brown. Listen, thanks so much, and obviously we're going to do this again. To Bayou Buzz Hangouts, hanging out on Bayou Buzz with Jeff Crayer, Jim Brown, and others.
Enjoy it, fellas. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.